Some of your best dishes really came from taking inspiration from parts of your life, and that's what we want you to do here. Each course of your meal must be a toast to someone or something that has impacted your life.
That's awesome.
This moment is really big, and we want your dishes to pay homage to that.
Don't worry, you're gonna have some help. It's time to draw knives.
Welcome to the Eat Your Content Podcast. I'm your host, Rich Herrera. Thank you for joining my little podcast. I appreciate it. Just a quick reminder to follow me on socials at Rich Herrera and at Eat Your Content, and make sure you like and subscribe on your podcast player of choice so you know when new things drop on the pod. It is finale time on Top Chef Season 23, the long-awaited finale for Lawrence, Rhoda, and Sherry. We got a lot to talk about. We have mentors, we have sous chefs, we have toasts to everyone and everything in their lives. And joining me for one final time, Chef Corwin Hemming from Top Chef Season 22. Chef Corwin, how's it going?
Rich, this is it. This is the Catalina wine mixer. We're going to be crowning a Top Chef champion, even though we already know who won. But yeah, I got a lot to unpack. Wearing my Jordan jersey. We're going out. Somebody's going to be a Top Chef champion today. So let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about, ups, downs, all the above. It's great. It was, we're going to get into it.
Looking forward to it. Looking sharp in the Jordan jersey. Loving it. Got to represent. All right. So we are still in the Carolinas for the finale. We are not going international as is usual for Top Chef. But beautiful scenery, Grandfather Mountain. It's gorgeous up in that area of the state. So still happy to be in North Carolina and finishing things off, kind of coming full circle for everything. Loved a lot of things about this episode. I loved the family gathering there at the end. I thought that was really nice. And having home cooked meals there. But the Elimination Challenge, it's a familiar thing for those that watch Top Chef every year. It's create the best 4-course dinner of your life. A little bit of a twist that each course should be a toast to something that has impacted their life, but not too far off from normally tell the story of you through your food, which is kind of basically the same thing. And we see the return of some mentors. So Joe Flam, Sarah Bradley, and Stephanie Izard, all Top Chef vets. 2 champions and 1 2-time finalist, Sarah Bradley, who's on my pod. So go check out her interview with me. It's floating around up here. You can click on that. So happy to see all of them back. What did we think of the mentors coming into Top Chef to help kind of guide these finalists through what is arguably the most important meal of their life?
It's needed. That's why Top Chef is great, man. I keep saying it, man. And Tom Clicky liked the post that I when we talked about it, when you posted it last time. It's a family affair, and it wouldn't be what it is without people giving their time, attention back. We've had some phenomenal chefs come through the Top Chef realm who are still doing amazing things in the industry. Stephanie Izard, she's still got Girl in the Goat rocking right on West Randolph in Chicago. And so Joe coming back, he's OG vet. And then Sarah Bradley was a guest judge on the episode that I got knocked out, man. That sucks. I was like, oh man, I'll forever remember her as that chef. She was like staring at me. I was like, I think I'm getting knocked out. She was like staring at me, and I was like, is she looking at me or past me? And so I kind of looked off. Yeah, she was looking at me for sure. She knew it was coming. So I was looking at the judges, and then I went through and I looked at Tom, Gail, Kristen, and I was like, she's still staring at me. And I went back through. I was like, she's still staring at me. I was like, I'm getting knocked out. I think she's staring at me for a reason. But yeah, so I'll forever remember her as that. Unfortunately for me, that's my impression of her.
a bad memory of Sarah, but all is forgiven. All is forgiven.
It is what it is.
But I do love when they bring back some of these Top Chef OGs. Like they have gone through the Top Chef gauntlet. But then past Top Chef, it's like they've become like the Kelly Clarkson of Top Chef. You forget that they were even on Top Chef. They're just great chefs, like Stephanie Izard and Joe Flam and Sarah Bradley and all them. And, Kwame, I think, is a great example, getting a Netflix special on Chef's Table and all that. So you almost forget that, oh, yeah, they got their start on Top Chef, just like Lawrence, Rhoda, and Sherry. And you kind of see the trajectory of their careers after this. So hopefully Lawrence, Rhoda, and Sherry can capitalize on this platform and find great success post Top Chef. Even if you lose, you still win. I'm convinced of that on Top Chef. So they get the mentors to sit down with them and talk about their menus. And then they also pick sous chefs. So sous chefs is always an interesting pick when they come through at the the last few eliminated chefs come through and get to be picked, and it was only three. They only chose the three that were last eliminated instead of normally maybe four or five, and then they do dodgeball pick them, and then you see a couple of them sadly walk off leaving. But you have three here. We had Anthony, Seeger, and Jonathan coming back. So you had Sherry picking Anthony, Rhoda picked Seeger, and Lawrence picked Jonathan, or Laura got Jonathan by default there as the last pick. The pairings. So first impression, as we watch the episode, so we know who won. But the initial first impression of the pairings, who do you think? Oh, that's going to be a team to watch out for.
I wasn't necessarily paying attention who got the sous chefs because you know how we feel about certain somebody who we're not going to mention because this episode was not about said person. We're just going to talk about the chefs in their finale. So I thought it was interesting who they picked, but I was more so trying to see what direction they were going to go in terms of their tasting menu. And so, we saw, for example, Rhoda sat down and Joe Flam basically was just like, "You're not doing a dessert," and she was like,
Yeah.
"Why are you looking at me like that?" Like those. That was what I was focusing on and trying to see, like, all right, like who's going to do what direction they're going to go in. Obviously, we knew Lawrence was going to stick to his guns and do Chinese cuisine. We knew this. Like this is him through and through. He won the most elimination challenges, so this is the Catalina wine mixer for him. So I was watching like, does Lawrence win this? Like, does he deliver how he delivered all season? I was looking at Sherry and being like, does she continue to have this chip on her shoulder and cook from her soul? She's been pulling on her Brazilian roots her whole time, and she decided to go in the direction of like her kind of her Brazilian roots, but more so like an ode to like the places that built her up in her career. Uh, Cirque, per se, all these Michelin star spots that like gave her grassroots basically in this industry. She basically was like, I'm going to go in that direction. I was like, that's a gamble. Um, for example, like, I love Vinny to death. Like Vinny, this, bro, you're my guy. But on our season, like I feel like his shortcomings where he was cooking a lot of the food that he came out of those kitchens, EMP, Nomad, Bacchus, like that's his style of cooking, man. He loves it. But Top Chef, it's like, let's see who you are. And I think that's where like, I was like, man, they're all doing something ballsy. Like they're all taking a risk. Let's just see who can execute the best. And that's where I was looking at.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Sherry and the choices that she made in her menu because I immediately thought of Vinny too. Because Vinny, once he stopped cooking his resume, he started to do really well in your
Mhm.
season. Once he was like, okay, I got to stop doing that, like copying dishes from where he came from. So I understand her head where she was at. Is like I want to, these places influenced me so much as a chef. I want
Mhm.
to pay homage to them, but it's not your food. It's your food kind of like it's your spin on their food, but it's not your food. Versus Rhoda and Lawrence, where Rhoda was like, "Look, I don't cook Filipino food professionally. This is my chance to make Filipino food be the star." And I thought that was a great choice. And same thing with Lawrence. He was very family oriented in his choices. So they
Mhm.
were cooking from the heart. And when you cook from the heart, I think you put a little more into it. You put a little bit more attention to it. Whereas you're cooking the same dish you've cooked in your career in the past, just on kind of autopilot, but you add a Carolina Reaper to it or something like that. So I
Mhm.
thought when Sherry was doing that, I was like, I don't know if you're going to win with that. I mean, the food there's got to be no
It's
mistakes.
got to be executed perfectly.
Yeah. It's got to be executed perfectly. And your story still has to kind of come through there as opposed to like, hey, I'm toast to per se. We made this at per se. It was kind of like that. And I didn't think
Mhm.
she was going to win there. She did well. So I don't want this to be like, hey, Sherry did badly. No, she cooked
Now,
amazing food. Just two other people had better stories and had a better kind of way of working their way through the menu. I do
yeah,
love when Rhoda was like, "Yeah, I'm not making dessert," and Joe was like, "That's a choice." And you could
it's a
and the
choice.
discordant mute background music came through. It's like, "Da da, no dessert."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but
what did you
we
think
we
there?
talked about that. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, man. When she came out of LCK, the first dish she did was dessert, and it almost got her packed up out of there. And I think that she knew this. She was like, dessert's not my strong suit. I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'm gonna figure out something else because I'm trying to win. And that's her knowing herself. It's ballsy. I don't necessarily agree with it, but she stuck to her story. She had a reason why she was doing it, and it made it interesting. If you execute at the end of the day doing that, then you basically set yourself apart. Everybody else is doing the traditional ladder of a four course, and you're like, I'm going all savory. I'm going to cook food for you guys. I'm not going to bake anything. I'm not going to make anything sweet. I'm just going to cook from the heart. I'm going to show you who I am. Like it, love it, hate it. This is what you're getting. And like, it's ballsy. Like, you got to make a dessert for me, in my opinion. Like, that's where you go. But we saw she was able to execute, and so yeah, it worked.
Yeah, knowing the ending, obviously it was the right
Yeah.
choice. She stuck to her guns, and even Tom at the end was like, it was good that she did that because you can't end out that eggplant dish, and we'll talk about that. But not only
Mhm.
did she end on a savory note, but she ended on what would probably be normally the third course. Like that's heavy, like short rib.
Yeah. Hmm.
Short rib and vegetables. That's a heavy course to end on versus a traditional dessert that's light, sweet, or not as savory. And
Hmm.
so I was like, oh man, I was like Joe. I was like, that's certainly a choice. And I do like that they paired Joe with Rhoda because they have similar paths in Top Chef. Like he went
Hmm.
through LCK to win, she
Yep.
went through LCK to win. So I thought it was really a nice little twist of fate that they got paired together. So she could. I mean, obviously they didn't show the whole conversation, but I'm sure she had to have talked about that with him. It's like, hey, what was it like coming out of Top Chef and you made it to the finals and you won? Like, what was your frame of mind during all that? So I thought it was really cool that they got paired together. And Sarah's advice to Sherry when Sherry was creating her menu, she was going to do a beef tongue and a langoustine in the same course. And Sarah said to her, in the history of Top Chef, not doing a duo is always a better idea. And then she chose not to, which was the smart choice.
Hmm.
Because if you do that, you're going to get judged twice on the same
Yeah.
plate. And you never want that to happen. You only want one
Yeah.
star of the plate. You don't want two
Yep.
stars fighting for attention. So I thought that was a really good choice. So let's talk about Rhoda for a second. I loved that Rhoda made Filipino food the spotlight of her four courses because I agree with her. Filipino food is completely underrated. It's I feel like it's gonna be the next big thing. If people can just get into it, it's gonna blow up like all these other cuisines that have blown up that were in obscurity in the past. But what did you think of her? Highlighting her Filipino heritage especially when she was saying, "Look, I don't cook this professionally, but this is my chance to shine." What did you think of her doing Filipino food as elevated as it was?
I'm all in on it, man. It's something that I took an approach to, just putting culture behind your purpose, and then representing your family. You're representing a country. You're representing so many things. It's like you said, like it's an underrepresented food in terms of fine dining, as so many other people of color around this world do the same thing. And so that always to me is going to give you a much more unique representation of yourself, in terms of visually on a plate, flavors on a plate, components, ingredients, techniques. Like it shows that anybody who's coming from another country, outside of America can come here and, have a vision, have a dream. It's that old school American mentality of like, if you can do it in America, you can do it anywhere. And I'm all for it, man. It's the Tristans that win based off cooking, oxtail on his final course. It's all these other chefs who've put it on, wore their flag on their back and represented, a diaspora in a way in which you're gonna make people proud if you do it right. And it's important because the representation, not only is she a woman, but like she's a Filipino chef, and she lives in Hawaii, and so she's surrounded by Micronesian, Polynesian, Filipino, like all these different cultures that all kind of make up, uh, a larger region of the world that's underrepresented. It's a great thing. So shout out to you, Rhoda. You did it. You did the things, and it worked. So that's, I think, the most important part. And like we said, I was right. I was right. We have a female Top Chef champion crowned. So shout out to you, man. You won. I know I'm jumping ahead here. I know I'm going ahead, but you won the game. I was banking on Sherry winning. I figured it was just hard to see that, like, the way the top end of the season was going, that Lawrence was going to pull it off that easily. He wasn't going to have a Danny Garcia type of season where he was just kind of in a world by himself cooking, and everybody else was trying to rise to the occasion and couldn't. We saw other people that were like, nah, like I'm here to beat you. Like I'm coming for you. We saw Sherry with her head down, like Tom Brady, coming swinging for the fences. We saw a lot of chefs in this season literally being like, no, like he's not the only one that can get a W. Um, and so it just ended up playing out how it was supposed to. But yeah, let's get into the next part of this.
Yeah, so I love that Rhoda won. I love that a Filipino chef won this, and I love
Mhm.
that Filipino food was elevated. It reminded me there's a restaurant here in Jacksonville that if you ever come to visit, I'll take you. It's called Abstract
Okay.
Filipino Essence, and Chef Jojo Hernandez, shout out Chef Jojo. He has done amazing things with Filipino food and has also elevated it
Okay.
to more upscale, and it's so good. So I definitely love seeing that representation happening. Um, but yeah, so I got to be honest with you. I was kind of rooting for Lawrence to win because I put some money down on Kalshi and on the prediction market, and I did it about halfway through the season, and Lawrence was kind of like running the table for a minute, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna win. But the prediction market had Rhoda winning. Like more people were betting on Rhoda than they were on Lawrence, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna bet on Lawrence. I'm gonna win. Yeah, it was like $5. Put $5 down on Lawrence, and I was like, oh man, he didn't win. When that
What was the cash in if you would have won?
oh shoot, I don't remember. It would have been a pretty good amount. It would have been like, I don't know, almost $50 or something like that. Like
Oh yeah, that's
I would
pretty
have won
good.
some money. So I was like,
Yeah, a
oh,
little
Lawrence
quick
is on the
turnaround.
upswing. He's doing great. I'm gonna put it on him to win. And then that duck came out and it was overdone. And I was like, he's done. No, you cannot win with improperly cooked proteins. And I was like, yeah, he's done. He's done. Rhoda's gonna win this one now. And I was like, oh no, not the duck. And then I thought about Sarah Bradley being at the table because her World All Star season, her liver came out undercooked, and she was poised to almost beat Buddha. Had that liver come out good, I think she would have beat Buddha in All Stars. So
Mm,
it's just the running theme in Top Chef. You cannot improperly cook your protein. It's got to be perfect. So when his
gotta
duck
be
came
perfect.
out, yeah, his duck came out and it was overdone. I was like, oh no. And then I was thinking, well, he said he sous vide it, and then I don't remember him sous videing it. Did he sous vide it? Did I miss it? Or he said he did that, right?
He said he did. I didn't see it. I mean, I don't think they cut to it. Maybe he did, but yeah, that's. I mean, we started off this season with improperly cooked proteins, and it finished that way too. You know,
Yeah,
you're not gonna let it's not gonna skate by, especially when you have that group of judges there. You know, you have editor Food Wine Magazine, you've got Kamari Mick, you've got like people that know cuisine, man. Like it's not gonna fly, and that wasn't his intention. Like, let's
sure.
be real. Like Lawrence, he bet on himself the whole season. So like regardless if he didn't win, he still proved something this season that like he's a very strong chef. He has his purpose in life, his wife, his son, like he has all the tangibles to continue going on to be great. And who knows, man, there might be future seasons where he comes back and he might do some things. And you know, I could challenge him to just continue focusing on your craft and getting better, keep leaning into this. Hopefully he can get a restaurant out of this so he can show the world some more, like, you know, of his version of Cantonese cuisine or his style of Szechuan and different regional Chinese cuisines. Because I mean, he did really well this season. He won the most elimination challenges this season. He won a couple, you know, left with some dollars in his pocket, won some money. So like, you know, he did extremely well for somebody who didn't win. Um, it just sucks to see that steam burnt out in the end for him, you know, because he was poised to win. He was on such a roll. It was like, I mean, it's kind of cliche. It's like where you're down 3-1 to the Warriors, and you blow a 3-1 lead is kind of like how it plays out for him, just because of how good he did. Like he was setting records, man. Him and Rhoda though, but Rhoda also came out the gate like on fire. Like first two challenges was like winning, and then we kind of see that massive dip she took, and then you know even came out of LCK. I was like, when she came out of LCK in that first challenge, I was like, if she even makes it to the final, she's gonna have to make dessert. That's literally, I thought this back then. I was like, she's gonna have to make dessert. That's her weak spot. Like, so Rhoda, like I 100% implore you. I challenge you, if you're listening to this and you hear this, like go work on your pastry game. It's gonna make you a much better chef. Like it's gonna make you so much better. Like go get better at that, because your world is blowing up now. You're a Top Chef champion, and if there's future seasons of All Stars, if there's you opening a fine dining restaurant where you really get to go for it, go all the way. Like don't shortchange yourself. Like please, like get better with your pastries, because it's gonna make you a much more well-rounded chef. Sherry, keep finding your soul. Like you gotta keep leaning into you. Like find your soul. Like you're not per se. You're not LA Cirque. You're not all these other places. You're Sherry. So like you're Brazilian. That's where you should be going, because when you did it well and it was strong, and then you proved a point. Like you're badass. Like keep doing that. That's what works for you. And so, all three of them, like hang your heads high. You guys did great. This was a dope season. And I'm just eager to see what they do in the future too.
Yeah, me too. I follow them all on socials, so it'll be really interesting to see where they take their career from here. I do want to talk a little bit about everybody making kanji. I thought that was pretty funny. Like they all,
Yeah.
they didn't talk about. I'm sure they didn't talk about each other's menus
Mhm.
very much, but they all coincidentally made kanji. Luckily,
Yeah.
they didn't make it all of the same course, which would have been hilarious if they'd have done that.
Mhm.
But kanji for all three, which kind of made sense for Lawrence and Rhoda, but I was kind of surprised to see a kanji with
Sherry.
Sherry's menu
Mhm.
on there. So kind of looking at that, which kanji was looking like your favorite there?
All right. I gotta approach this from my perspective. So on my season, kanji was made very many times. I
Yeah.
believe Katiana made it, Kat made it, um, Shuai and Henry made it. There was a lot of kanji being made, and every single time, there was one time where I tasted it. Henry and Shuai made really, really dope kanji. It was delicious. It was the episode I got knocked out on. I tasted it. And I was like, damn, this was good. And every single time somebody made kanji, they weren't in the top three every single time. And I'm like, why? Because theirs tasted really good. And then you get to know Tom, Gail, Kristen, their likes, preferences. They don't hate kanji, but for me, I think I saw certain things. I paid attention to previous seasons before I came on. I kind of saw what got a lot of chefs knocked out, and I was like, I'm not gonna do those things. Like I'm not gonna try to make risotto for 15 people and fake the funk. Like it's not gonna set and get cold and mushy, and it's gonna eat like thick oatmeal. Like I'm not gonna do it. But kanji kept coming up in my season and nobody was winning off of it. And so I was like, man, I don't know. I don't think it's got to be textural, because Tom hates slimy things. Like Tom religiously is like, why did you serve me this? Like he said it out loud. Why did you serve me this? I hate slimy things. And so paying attention to that from my perspective, I was like, I don't think kanji is ever gonna get a win. Like so let me stay away from like any type of like savory rice pudding. Like just stay away from it, because I don't think it's a winning dish. It's great for what it is, but uh, even when well executed, it's great. But I just that's the perspective I took of it, just based off of like the reading the room. And so when I saw all these kanjis coming up, I was like, oh man, like are they shooting too low? Could they have done something different? Could they have gone a little bit more creative? Like I was like kind of staring about it, but who had the best looking kanji? Let me come back to the actual question here. Um, if I'm not mistaken, Sherry's the judges, or no, it was Rhoda who had the abalone with kanji, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one was the biggest swing. Abalone is not something that like she took the biggest risk with her proteins, and I think that that's what won her this season,
Hmm.
because like why abalone? Like you know what I mean? And then she got into her story about like I ate this growing up. This was something my family would eat X, Y, and Z, and I was like, okay, there's a story behind it. Like she's a Pacific Islander. Like she probably knows how to cook abalone, and she did. And Tom was like, there was a ton of flavor in it, which you have to like cook and prepare abalone a certain way so that the texture's right. It's not overcooked and super chewy, but also like it soaks up flavor very easily. So she treated it pretty well. Um, and yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh man, she's taking a risk with abalone. Like she I thought took the biggest risk. out of everybody, in her execution of her four course. She didn't want to do dessert. She's swinging for it with these crazy combinations of flavors, the liver braised short rib. Like I was like, okay, she's going out being like, this is Filipino food, or this is Filipino flavors, this is Filipino inspired. I'm going out on this. And that's where I was like, at that point, they all made mistakes. I think that this was a weird finale for me watching it. I was like, man, they're nobody's executing flawlessly. Like when we saw my season, for example, Tristan like was the only one. We saw Schley have a mess up, I think, on like his third course. Bailey messed up on her second course, and Tristan was bang, 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 bang. And it was like, okay, this is a clear defined winner. Like we were watching and I was like, man, Tristan's gonna win. Tristan's gonna win. Tristan's gonna win. Like every course, I'm like, okay. But then here it's like, all right, this person executed the first course. This person messed up on the second course. This person messed up on the third course. This person messed up on a dessert. And so there was just a lot of like all over the place. I'm like, man, this can go in any direction. This can go in any way. This is going to be a tough judging. Like it's going to be a really tough judging. One, she didn't do a dessert. This person messed up on the dessert. This person messed up on two courses. So it was like, oh man, like what's the silver lining here? And it came down to Rhoda taking the biggest swing on proteins and executing them better than Lawrence, better than Sherry. And that's just how it played out. Like it was weird. This was a weird finish. It kind of gave me like Game of Thrones vibes, like how Game of Thrones finished. I don't know why. It just because they were, I think nerves got to all of them. I think it was a big moment, the pressure of it. I don't know. They were all making little mistakes in that. Whereas like, if you go on All Stars, like that's going to get you knocked out early in All Stars. That's going to get you clipped quick versus these three. Everybody's kind of having a fluttering moment while they're trying to like win Top Chef. It was hard. It was hard to be like, who's the distinct winner because they all made little mistakes. But Rhoda did the thing that matters the most is execute your proteins.
Yeah, everyone tripped up a little bit on a course, and it did make it a little bit more difficult to predict a winner. So it made it more fun to watch because you're like, okay, whose mistake was worse than the others, and who's going to win? But before we get into dinner service, I do want to talk about the family meal at at the end of the night before. I thought that was really, really nice to see, and I love how Rhoda immediately kind of clocked it when they set down the kare kare. And she's like, that looks familiar. Like, I know what that is, but
so who made this?
Yeah, exactly. So I think she knew what was up right there. And then the family comes in and there's tears and there's hugs and everybody's crying. And it's, I can't imagine being in that position the night before your most important cook and you get to see your family that you haven't seen in probably like a month and a half, 2 months. And, and they're already asking you like, what are you going to be cooking and talking about your family through all this. And, I love the editing team at Top Chef where Lawrence talked about, man, I missed my wife's birthday and our anniversary. Cue the wife. And she comes in to a family meal. And it was really cool to see. And he just lost it. But I want to talk about their dishes that they made because there's nothing like a home cooked meal. I mean, these folks have been eating, top shelf food for the last 2.5 months. And then they come to this like just home cooked rustic meal. And it's like the best meal of their lives. I loved all three of these. So Rhoda's sister made kare kare, which as a Filipino, I've eaten a lot of that. And it is amazing. It sounds like it shouldn't work. It's like peanut butter and meat and eggplant and bok choy and or whatever kind of green you want to put in there and string beans, and it shouldn't work, but it's so delicious and I love it so much. And hers looked really good. Picanha, I think, is a very underrated cut of meat. I don't think a lot of people eat it. Sherry's mom made that one. I love picanha. I love it more than ribeye. I love it more than a T-bone. I love it more than a filet. And it's so economical. I think, listen, go out there to Publix. You can get picanha for like $10 a pound. It's going to be a lot cheaper than your ribeyes, a lot cheaper than your New York strips. And that fat cap on the top sirloin keeps everything so juicy. Oh my God, picanha is the best. I love it.
I love picanha. But when done well, it's buttery. It's got great flavor. It's the cuisson, super, like it's a great stick. It's super underrated. Actually, I've played around with trying to figure out how to put it on our menu. They can't find a place, but man, it's such a good steak. It's such a good steak.
Man, just cut it into steaks and serve it up. There's
Slice
not
it
a whole
up,
lot you need to do with it.
Yeah,
But
facts.
It is good, man. That's the best stuff. And then Lawrence's wife made a Malagasy curry, a coconut curry from Madagascar. I thought was really, really interesting.
Hmm.
Just watching everybody eat, everybody get emotional. I just thought, that's the best thing you need, the best motivation to have going into dinner service. So I love that they do that. I hope that's going to be a recurring thing in Top Chef. If
Yeah.
they don't go international, they stay where they're filming the whole season. Bring the family in. I think it makes for really, really great TV. So let's talk about the dinner service. A lot to talk about here. So the first course, Rhoda did a toast to California, which was roasted sweet potato with miso butter, fresh uni, and charred sweet potato leaves. Sherry did a toast to Le Cirque, where she started her career. She made a moqueca with frog legs and langoustine, chayote, zucchini, and shiitake mushrooms. And Lawrence did a toast to his mom and the bakery that he took over by making
Hmm.
pork and century egg congee with yao tu. Um, Looking at this, I thought Rhoda won round one. I kind of scored
Yeah.
these like who won the round, right?
Yes.
So I believe Rhoda won round one, especially when Tom says something like, "This is new and different. I never had a sweet potato with miso, and this is new, different. Never had it." That is something you definitely want to hear on Top Chef because they've eaten it all, they've seen it all. So when something's new and different and exciting, it's going to stick out. So, what
Hmm.
did we think of these three? And do you agree that Rhoda won this round?
Yeah, I think Rhoda came out really strong. Sherry also came out really strong. We saw Lawrence trip up on plating his kanji too quick,
Yep.
and it set, and that's just the nerves. I think it was the nerves, man. They all when you see like the mistakes they made, and you go back and watch you observe the whole season. It's like they weren't making those mistakes early on, so like it's just the nerves of the finale, man. And she sweet potato miso is like something that I do. Like it's a combination that I do religiously. I make like a smoked sweet potato and I use miso to season it, and it's a great combination. You can puree it, you can like roast sweet potatoes with the miso, but it's just a combination that works. And then with the uni, she specifically said I didn't want the uni to get lost here. I still wanted it to have a place, and Tom gave her big kudos on that. So yeah, I agree that I think her and Sherry came out strong. I didn't have a distinct winner. Obviously, you and me are not eating the food, so it's all visual, and we're just paying attention to the cues of the judges. But yeah, I think they both came out really strong. And even, I mean, his. Let's talk about Lawrence for a second because he was clearly the one that had critique right out the gate, and his bread was like not oily, like it was great. Like everybody liked his dish. Had he plated his kanji a couple minutes later and got everything ready it was served hot. Kristen's first comment was, "What temperature did you want to serve this?" And he was just like, "Hot." And she was like, "It was," and it was room temp. And he's like, "Oh, that was just timing issues." Like those are things. Those are the bigger things you need to pay attention to when you're in a finale because it's like every little detail matters, and that's what's going to get you knocked out. Somebody doesn't have to do great. They just got to be, not the slowest kid running away from the dog, in the neighborhood. And so that's where he out the gate was making little mistakes. And you could tell like as this was progressing, you could see it on his face. He's like, I'm not going to win. You could tell his demeanor was like, kind of like, I'm not going to win. And that sucks because he did so well. He did so well all season. Everybody was rooting on him to win. He did so well, but that's where I think Rhoda and Sherry started heating up, and I was like, one of the two of them is going to win. Like out the gate, I was like, if they continue to progress this way and they don't make any big mistakes, Rhoda or Sherry's going to win immediately. That's like I knew it. I was like, one of them's going to win for sure. And I was like, hopefully Sherry, I can win. Brad can beat you. But this goes back to what I said. I think like 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, like right around when Anthony, Jonathan kind of were getting clipped off. I was like, man, I think we're gonna have a female Top Chef champion. It's the first time since who did we say was season 18, season
Yeah,
17?
Melissa King,
Melissa King.
All
Yeah,
Stars. Yeah.
yep. That was the last time, and we're back there now. And Rhoda, she did it in fashion with Kristen Kish. Like came
Hmm.
out of LCK, dominated back, stuck to her guns, cooked food, and then ended up winning. So yeah, man, it was that's where round one I think ultimately went. Is just I knew one of the two ladies are going to win it out the gate. Once I just saw his I don't know, it was something off about Lawrence this episode. Maybe I don't know, man. I'm not going to speculate, but the nerves of this definitely I think got to all three of them in their little mistakes because when they were on, they weren't having timing issues. When they were on, they weren't undercooking or overcooking proteins. When they were on, they were doing all of the little things to elevate their dishes. And This is where we just saw little moments of flutter when it mattered the most.
Yeah. Lawrence, when I saw him plating his congee with 6 minutes left on the clock, and he was like, "Oh, I think it'll hold the heat well." Well, maybe, but you forgot that congee is like grits, man. You let that sit too long, and you can spackle wallpaper with it. So,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. It seized up. It got cold and it seized up, and it should have been more, porridge like. So, yeah, tripping out of the gate like that, I was like, Lawrence is going to have to make every dish perfect, and somebody's going to have to stumble a little harder for him to pull this out. But let's move on to round two. So round two, Rhoda did a toast to her mom. So she made the abalone lugao, which is a Filipino congee. Sherry did a toast to Antos, another place where she worked at, which is a potato. She made a potato dumpling with pig ear broth, matsutake, and pickled han shime meiji mushrooms.
Mhm.
Lawrence did a toast to dim sum, his family's dim sum. So did three kind of mini courses in one course: a daikon
Mhm.
cake, a lobster sticky rice, and a scallop and shrimp roll with fresh tofu skins. For me, I think I kind of pegged Lawrence as winning this round. I think he took
Lawrence
the
definitely
biggest
won the second
swing.
round. Yeah.
Yeah, he took the biggest swing with doing so much in this second
Mhm.
course with three dim sums, having to cook in that course and running the risk of being judged three separate times on a dish. We talked about Sarah saying, "Don't do a duo." He's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do a duo. I'm going to do a triplet." So,
A
uh,
trio.
yeah, I'm going to do three. I'm going to do a trio. So he did three there, and I think him doing the biggest swing won him the round. Rhonda's abalone got high votes there. And Sherry's wasn't warm enough, they said. And Kristen said it was chewy and slimy, which you don't want to hear on the finals. So,
Mhm.
Lawrence winning the round. Do you agree with me there, or do you think somebody
Yeah,
else
that
won that one?
was I mean, it was everything was like very well plated and executed. I think he propped himself back up and gave himself like the ability, like if he would have continued, had he executed the duck, it's the same thing you said earlier. Would he have won? But that's the next course. So seeing in this course specifically, everything was just it was like just well executed. It was little dainty portions. Sherry, she messed up on this course. I think this was the course where she messed up twice. Lawrence messed up twice. So this is her first mess up. And if we go back to it, Kristen said that was my least favorite dish of the entire 12 dishes that were made was Sherry's second dish. And this goes back to my point. We want to see who you are. We don't want to see all these other restaurants that you worked at. And I think that's she just took the wrong avenue in the finale. I think Sherry stuck to her guns and been like, I'm going to cook Brazilian food because of moqueca. Like it's a South American seafood stew. Like she leaned into that strong. She did really well out the gate. It was interesting using frog legs like that could scare some people, but she came out the gate strong. And I think had she continued that, she might have been like Top Chef. She might have been like 100% because that was what was giving her the most potential all season long. When she was making these dishes in the beginning and trying all these like very weird things, it just wasn't working. And then she found herself at some point in time in the competition, and things started clicking very fast for her, and we saw that. And so I would have loved to see her lean more into her Brazilian roots and cook from the heart a little bit more. Not that she wasn't, but it this second dish for her was not it wasn't a good one. It was a swing and a miss, and um, we saw Lawrence just execute kind of like how he does. Like I think the more he puts on his plate, the better he does. The more simplistic he does, the more all right it is. Like we've seen him take drastic leaps where I'm like, man, how is he going to get all this mise en place done in this time period? And then he does, and it's like, oh, okay. And then that's what got him there. That's what got him into the finale. And so I think ultimately he won round two, and that's Rhoda. What did Rhoda make again? What was her dish for the
She
second?
did it was her congee. It was
It was
abalone
her kanji.
congee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with the abalone liver mousse, which a lot of people did like, but it was
Hmm.
kind of, they said, that's a combination you normally wouldn't see. And I think one judge said, I don't like that combination normally, but she did it really well. So,
Hmm.
but I think Lawrence just doing as much as he did just really made himself stand out in that round. So moving on to the third course, Rhoda did a toast to her first food memory. So she did a grilled eggplant omelet with XO sauce, vinegar, crispy pork belly, chili and fish sauce. Sherry did a toast to per se, Tornadoes Rossini with braised beef tongue, Carolina Reaper, leche de tigre, and seared foie gras. And Lawrence did a toast to community, which was the seared duck breast with sorghum glaze, fermented tofu, hoisin, and duck broth. Um,
Hmm.
Easy win for Sherry on this one.
Hmm.
They said that if that was her take on that dish in per se, then per se needs to put that on their on their menu. I think
Hmm.
someone said, I don't think Thomas Keller uses Carolina Reapers, but maybe he should.
Hmm.
So easy win for Sherry there. I do want to say about Rhoda's. I love the presentation when they did the beauty shot of that. I thought that looked really cool that they kind of used the eggplant as the vehicle for the omelet,
Hmm.
and it looked stunning. But eggplant is so finicky, man. It's one of
Yeah,
those things that it turns into a sponge or it can get crispy. And with hers, one of the judges had this comment that it was crispy and soggy at the same time.
that's
Uh,
eggplant.
yeah, that's how eggplant does.
That's
Um,
creamy when it's crunchy, like lightly crunchy on the outside and creamy and mushy on the inside. That's what it is. It falls apart. It doesn't get. It's not an egg. It falls apart the more you cook it. And so, yeah, man, this was. I thought this was once again, man, it was hard judging this finale. It was so hard because we've seen all three of them, one, two, three, shine really well. We've seen somebody fall, somebody, man, and then this eggplant. And I'm like, man, like, she got, it was mixed bag of critique for Rhoda. Some people were like, yeah, mine was really mushy. Oh, I love the flavors. Man, I could have done without it. Is this what you should have done for her third course? Like, it was all over the place. And I was like, who's gonna win? Screaming at my team, who's gonna win right now? Like, this is not, they're all making, like, it's not that they're making mistakes, they're just all, something's happening. Like, it was just, I don't know, man. The energy was off. I don't know. It was, I don't think that was a winning dish for Rhoda. Um, Sherry definitely won this round. She knocked that out the park. Her seared foie gras, the presentation was cool, like a little piece of foie on top. It just, it's just they took us on a roller coaster, man. We're at Six Flags all over again. And Lawrence, I wish he would have just cooked this duck how he wanted to. He said he was trying to like do an ode to Peking duck, but wasn't gonna make Peking duck. So don't take an ode to Peking duck. Like, just cook the duck breast properly and win on that. Like, serve it with the cuisson showing, and he didn't do that. It was everybody's dish was overcooked, and I think that this is at this point I was like, Lawrence isn't going to win. He had a really strong round two, and I was like, Lawrence isn't going to win. He's not going to win. This is his downfall. Like, Rhoda didn't mess up that bad. It's just preference of eggplant is kind of where she stands in this one. And then Sherry she had a really rough round two, least favorite dish of the whole thing, had a strong round one, got a W here. So I was like, it's coming down to the last course. Whoever blows the judges out or doesn't mess up at this point, like, I don't know. Like, I was like, man, this judging's all over the place. Like, who's gonna win? Whoever doesn't mess up right here is gonna be the next Top Chef.
Yeah. I think another thing that Rhoda kind of tripped up on was her XO sauce. It veered too far from the original and
Hmm.
it wasn't an XO sauce anymore. And
She blended it.
yeah, she blended it and it wasn't an XO sauce, essentially, is what all the judges are saying.
Yeah,
Like, if you're telling me it's an XO sauce, it needs to be an XO sauce.
yeah,
And it didn't do that. And then we talked about Lawrence and his duck. And what shocked me about the duck was if you sous vide it, it's perfect. Like, you set the temperature and you can leave it there. So I had to think that it got messed up on the finishing sear, that they let it sit too long to sear and it got overdone in the finishing step. It couldn't have been overdone in the sous vide unless you set the wrong temperature, uh,
yeah.
which is possible, I guess, but I don't see
Or let
that
it swim too long.
happening. Yeah. So, yeah, when I saw that duck, I'm like, oh no, I just lost my Kalshi bet on
five
that one.
dollars down the drain.
Yeah, $5 down the drain. Dang it. So let's move on to the fourth course. So Rhoda did a toast to her dad, which was the braised short rib with liver sauce and vegetables. Sherry did a toast to corn. So hominy porridge with corn husk ice cream, toasted Brazil nuts, candied pecans or peanuts, and candied ginger. And Lawrence did a toast to his wife, which was broken birthday cake with peaches and caramelized white chocolate cream. Um, I love a traditional dessert, and I think this might have been my Kalshi bet talking, but I gave the win to Lawrence because there's a lot of good comments about his story, and I love how he said
Mhm.
the ice cream is intentionally melted because it looks sad, and I was like, that's a good story. And then Sherry, her downfall, she she plated that ice cream too early and it just melted. So it didn't come out the way she wanted to. And then Rhoda took the big swing and didn't do dessert at all, but did a very heavy, savory dish at the end. We talked a lot about that earlier, but um, I gave the round to Lawrence because I wanted a traditional dessert, and I don't know at the time I was like, Rhoda, you didn't make the right choice here. Joe Flam was guiding you to make a dessert, and he didn't do it. Of course, how wrong am I at the end of this? But what did you think of this fourth course? This is you're talking about roller coaster. This was where I was going a loop to loop. I didn't know really who was going to win this thing.
I think it was a weird moment when Lawrence said the ice cream was sad. I was confused. I was like, why not just give them perfect ice cream? You're in the win. Like you have a Kamari Mick is like a very, 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 very talented pastry chef. Like these things, you're leaving open critique to somebody like a group of judges that like know right and wrong. And it's like, oh well, the ice cream's supposed to look like that. Is it? I don't know. You know, Sherry's was melted because she plated it too fast on top of a warm vessel. And I think had she executed her dessert, once again, Sherry might have won. Sherry might have won. She had her dessert because they liked it. They didn't love the presentation, but that's also because the ice cream melted. You know, there was a lot of variables with her, but they loved the flavor. They're like this, the corn is so pronounced, it has texture to it. They said a lot of good things. But had she said creme anglaise, does she skate by here?
Right.
If she says the right things, it's literally what happened in my season with Massimo. Massimo was like, you know, my ice cream didn't come out the way it wanted it to, and Tom very adamantly was like, well, what is ice cream base? Creme anglaise. So if you knew it's melted, why not just call it that? And then he was like, well, that's fair. Well, yeah, for sure. There's ways to like get by. You know, if you would have argued your case, man, like I originally wanted to make ice cream, but then I thought about the heat component and I was like, well, creme anglaise will play better with this. You scot free right there. Boom. Like you just talked your way out of critique. And then now they're judging creme anglaise. So let them judge that. Okay, well then let's get into what proper creme anglaise is. Is it thick enough? Is it too watery? All right, let them decide that. But I think Sherry was on the cusp there. You know, her and Anthony were like, she's like, we played it too soon. Fuck. Like they knew it. Like we saw it, and I was like, oh, Sherry, you were supposed to win it for me. But um, and Lawrence's dessert, you know, he got minimal critiques here. So I remember Kamari specifically saying, I would have loved for him to like soak his cake in some of that macerated liquor that he used. Like it would have taken that dessert to the next level. And everybody was like 100%. Like you saw Tom shake his head. Like everybody agreed with that sentiment because it would have elevated the dessert to another level. So there was minimal critique there. I think he executed a decent dessert. I'm also like you, like give me a proper dessert. Like don't fake the funk. Don't give me something weird that's like a deconstructed or like a not a dessert. But Rhoda, she didn't do dessert, and I was like, man, she cooked it perfectly. But here's my thing: if she would have taken that eggplant dish, threw it in the garbage, and then took this short rib dish, plated it there, and then done a dessert and it executed even decently well, she would have still won. I think she would have propped her. It would have been easier to have been like, now Rhoda kind of executed 4 dishes the best. Had she just done that ladder, I think the eggplant almost got her knocked. If Lawrence cooks his duck and Sherry doesn't mess up on her dessert, how do you judge this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm exactly. I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, you should have made your fourth course your third course, and then done a dessert for the fourth course. But again, what do I know? She won, so she clearly made the right choices. Or did Laura? Did okay? I don't want to make this sound bad. Did Rhoda win, or did Lawrence and Sherry lose? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes, 100%. That's why I was like, this is Game of Thrones. This is the ending of Game of Thrones. It wasn't a clear defined winner. It wasn't what we've seen traditionally. And maybe that's what makes the Carolinas this season 23. That's what makes this season itself. It has its own legs. It has its own soul. Like this is what it makes it. Like it was a scrappy finish. It was a scrappy finish. There was no distinct winner until there was. And I was like, okay, the judges made the right decision, I think. She executed the most consistently of the 3 of them. We saw Lawrence trip twice. We saw Sherry trip twice. We saw Rhoda trip once. Did she do dessert? Sure. She didn't do one. Cool. We can let bygones be bygones there because there's no parameters, there's no rule book to what you're supposed to do. If you're executing a traditional like everybody else, then you need to do something that stands out. Like I just think she would have had better legs under her if she would have replaced her eggplant with the short rib. She would have had three solid courses. Yeah, they didn't love the congee, but like they liked it. They, everybody was like, this is different. Like she used liver sauce twice, or like a form of liver twice. Um, but in that, she executed the most consistently. And I think that that's why she's the Top Chef champion. She heated up at the right time. She came out of LCK. She caught some wins late. She was like, I'm here to beat Lawrence. And I think Lawrence beat himself. I don't think Rhoda necessarily beat him. I think Rhoda, he beat himself. He beat himself out of a championship that he kind of was dog walking for weeks at one point. And yeah, man, Sherry should have just stuck to her guns. I wish she would have just cooked more Brazilian food.
Yeah.
Because then I think she would have had it. There's a variable here that like if this person would have did this, they would have won. If this person would have did this, they would have won. And if Rhoda would have done a couple things differently, would she have won? Would she have bombed on her dessert and knocked herself out? Would she? I don't know. These are all hypotheticals that you and I are playing with because it's Top Chef finale. But we're at the point now where it's like I was watching it and I was like, I know it's not Lawrence, but it's either Sherry or Rhoda. It's either Sherry or Rhoda. Yeah. And when it came down to it, Rhoda tripped up the least and executed more consistently and rocked it on her last course. Like she made up for the eggplant. And I think that's ultimately like where the Top Chef judging is like, it's super consistent, man. It's like, let's look at the execution, put the whole rest of the challenges aside and let's focus on just today. It's not a cumulative win. That's not how this works. It's, did you get to the finale? Let's talk about the finale. Let's talk about the judging right here, this 4-course dinner, and let's judge it off that. And so shout out to Rhoda, man. She's up. How much quick fire cash did she win?
Oh, I'd have to look. I don't know.
40K?
I think she won 40,000. Yeah, 40,000.
So she's up 300K.
300K, yep.
You better fly Sherry out. I said it like 2 episodes. If you don't take that money and fly her out for one, the sandwich that you stole from her and won on, now you got $300,000 that's gonna hit your bank account T-minus a couple of weeks. Fly Sherry to Hawaii, ball out on your girl, get her some sushi on the Big Island. Like this is, if you don't, like I said, I'm gonna send the IRS after you. I'm gonna do something. It's a travesty if you don't fly her out and ball out on her for that 10K or the 15K or however much she won you. But no, I think they'll be all right. They're probably great friends. Their season, I've been watching like everybody's Instagram content from the season. They are like already hanging out a lot and like really big upping each other. So man, we have a Top Chef finale. We have a new champion. It's Rhoda, first since Melissa King. Man, it's been a while since we've crowned a Top Chef woman chef, and she's it, man. I'm eager to see what she does because, like you said, Filipino food, it's got a spotlight for the next year.
Yeah.
It has a spotlight. So
absolutely. I would have loved to have seen Rhoda like make that short rib the 3rd course, and then for dessert did like a Tyrone with ube ice cream. Like that would have been, Tyrone. What is it? It's a banana egg roll, easy, right? Mm-hmm. And then an ube ice cream, and then that would have been a great little like an elevated version of that. That would have been a perfect ending. But yeah, I agree with that. I think Rhoda just made less mistakes than Lawrence and Sherry, and that's how she pulled out the win with a short rib for her 4th course. So congrats to Rhoda. Love seeing a fellow Filipino winning this thing, and Filipino food's going to be the talk of the town for the next year. So I hope to see more Filipino spots opening up. I want to see more people enjoying Filipino food. So I'm very happy that a fellow Filipina has won Top Chef. So congratulations, Chef Rhoda. You are the newest Top Chef. But let's talk about the draft points. With Rhoda winning, I pull it out at the end. I won the episode 60-15, and I won the final draft score 138 to 115. I pulled it out at the end. Amazing, amazing run.
If we do this again in the future, I'm drafting completely strictly to get buckets. I took a chance on people I knew. I still would again. Seeing how this played out, I still would do it again. I picked people who I've cooked with before. I picked people who I knew personally. I want to see them do well in the future. This was a great season. Um, yeah, man. Next up is I gotta go find all these DC chefs. I know Jonathan's here. I know Anthony's here. I gotta go find these guys. Let's cook together, guys. Let's do something for the city of DC. Let's bring this Top Chef conglomerate uh, to a dinner series. I'm already in the works on like putting ideas out there and trying to do something maybe in Q3 this year for some dinners. But yeah, man, I'm stoked for what the future of Top Chef holds. Um, Something else. I also wanna give Tom Clickier some kudos. I know he recently just announced that Kraft after 25 years will be closing. Um,
Yeah,
Tom,
shocker.
you're an OG. Yeah, you're a vet, man. You've done it in New York City for 25 years, man, a quarter of a century, and you know your Hall of Fame resume precedes you. You opened Gramercy Tavern in '96. It's arguably the epitome of a consistent one Michelin star restaurant, not only in the United States, worldwide. And you know, everybody that's come through that kitchen has gone on to do great things. Chef Michael Anthony is amazing. Herrera is amazing. Like all the people that are a part of the Gramercy Tavern family that you helped establish and build with Danny Meyer. It's like, you know, congratulations to your career, man. I know you're still going to be around for Top Chef. This is also another one of your babies, but shout out to you. Shout out to Kraft. Right. Hopefully it goes out with a bang at the end of this year. 25 years to run any business, let alone a restaurant, is extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
Just also because of what Tom Plickett does. I think a lot of people don't know. You know, they know him as like the main host of Top Chef, but more specifically, he advocates on Capitol Hill for getting restaurants funding. He fights the battles behind closed doors and roundtables that are very influential in our industry. So shout out to you, Tom. You know, continue being an advocate for young chefs like myself to have this platform of Top Chef to go on and do and win money and show off and highlight your family and your cultural heritage and all the things that you do this for. Um, so definitely want to do that. Shout out to Kristen for, you know, setting the precedence for somebody who can get knocked out, come back, and then also in the future become a host of Top Chef. You know, you're the epitome of like what a Top Chef personality is, character wise. When she cries, I'm like, man, if she's crying, bro, like the moment's heavy. Like she has such a big heart for uh, not just chefs in general, but like for food and her passion. And Gail, continue like doing all the things in the culinary field. Like a lot of people, they don't know that Gail like cooked like
Oh yeah.
professional career. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that. Like she had a career. She also you know came out of a lot of Michelin star restaurants and you know has cookbooks and is doing all the things and uh Gail's Gail. She does it well. And man, this was a good episode. This was a good season. I think I'm eager to see what direction Top Chef goes in for the future. I want to see where what cities they pick next. There's not a lot of cities left. I know they were playing around some teasers and being like, well, where do you want to see Top Chef go next? And it was a lot of like tier 3 cities. Like there was a lot of people throwing out like small places that are super underrepresented in the United States.
Hmm.
So I'm eager to see like what that looks like in terms of for the future of Top Chef. You know, I before I left, I was like, if there's an All Stars, I would love to be on it. I still stand on that. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I got far enough in the ladder to get to that point, but man, I'm all in on Top Chef. Man, it's great for what it with the brand. It's great for the people. You know, I loved seeing all the co-hosts this season come on and all the comedians and all the actresses and actors and all the people that they ultimately uh, highlighted in this, you know, going to Greenville, where my brother-in-law is from, and shouting out Greenville, South Carolina, and then going to Asheville. Like this was, I think they represented the Carolinas well. They should have just did the finale in Charleston. That's my one critique of the whole thing. They should have did it in Charleston because that's like the food capital of the Carolinas. So, but yeah, the hog smoking, man, we had a good season, man. A lot of food, bro.
Yeah, it was a great season overall. Like this is Kristen's third season under her belt now, and she
Mm-hmm.
is finding her groove. Like this is her
Mm-hmm.
show now. And there was a lot of talk. Like after Padma leaves, is Top Chef going to be the same? And the
Mm-hmm.
answer is yes and no. I mean, it's Kristen's putting her own spin on
Mm-hmm.
this thing, but the machine of Top Chef keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
And it has lost no steam. It is just as
Yeah.
Emmy nominated as it has ever been.
Mhm.
And I love seeing Kristen on other reality shows like The Traders. Like that's fun to
Mhm.
see.
She's
Great
also
season.
super fly. Like she's fly,
Yeah,
super
yeah,
fly. I
yeah.
love her suit game. Just watching her like on Instagram, just be her best model life. It's the glow up. You know, she age like wine. She's aging like a nice bottle of red over time. So, whoever your stylist is, bro, I need a suit.
No
Let me
kidding,
get
man. Yeah.
let's go get fitted for a suit in the future together. I would love that. But yeah, this she is also like, she's Top Chef has taken multiple different hosts over time. We saw Padma have her tenured. We saw Kwame come in for a couple of for what was it, like 2 3 years, and then now Kristen's like growing into it, and it's just all good for the brand, man. I love it's always people that are involved in Top Chef, involved in food, and love it and pour into the game. If you're not doing it for the love of the game, man, it'll show. And they're all, she's one of the ones that's doing it for the love of the game. So
Yeah. Great. I love it. Was a great season. I can't wait to see where they go next. If I had my
mhm,
vote, come to Jacksonville. It's a very underrated foodie city. I think Jacksonville
mhm.
is, it's a great place. And you got
Florida
St.
would be cool.
Augustine. What's that?
Florida, like the entire panhandle of Florida
Oh yeah.
would be a dope episode or a dope season. Yeah, I think the regional is better.
Yeah.
Like they've done like hyper specific cities, like they did DC, they did New York City. Like you could do New York State, you could go to the Catskills, you could do Buffalo, you could do the whole state. It's massive. You could do the DMV, Washington, Maryland, and Virginia as a totality. You could do, there's so many places that you could do that I think Top Chef still has a lot of options, not even internationally, but like domestically. I would love to see Top Chef figure out how to do the Caribbean,
Yeah.
figure it out. Like there's so many possibilities and so many different islands with so many different cultural backgrounds and feels, French, Dutch, English, that, yeah, they colonized these places, but they also left like a lasting mark in terms of culinary on these islands, in terms of how we approach technique, approach flavors, approach trade, that got flavors from India, all these other places to the West Indies. So I would love to see Top Chef figure out how to do the Caribbean. I think we're in a season of Caribbean chefs around the country that are booming. Kabawa in New York City just got voted one of the best new restaurants on not only 50 best list, but the New York Times shouted them out as number one in the city. So I think, even Isla, we're up for Grammys for best new restaurant in DC. Like we're a massive restaurant that does a lot of numbers, but we're still like staying true to our quality and our craft. And so there's a lot of room for us to do something cool with the islands. It would make for some great TV. You cook on a boat for an episode on a yacht or something. I, I'm already writing the script. If you guys want to call me Top Chef, I'm here for you. Love you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So one last time, where can people follow you on
Mhm,
the socials, and what's going on at the restaurant? Any special menu things that people should be aware of
mhm.
and make a trek out to Isla?
Yes, you can find me at Chef Corwin Hemming on Instagram. At Isla, we also have a cocktail lounge called Good Love. We're doing a menu flip for that. It's a very sexy, lavish cocktail lounge that's like the hottest spot in the city. Like people come there and they're like, "Oh my God, this place is so grown and sexy." It gives like old DC vibes back, because DC used to have like a lot of like old school spots that great happy hours. You can go and listen to great music. That the aesthetic and they were very chic and grown and sexy. Like there's a lot of drapery and art, and the bar is like gold and has mirrors. So there's a lot. It's sexy, bro. Like if you're in DC and you want to come to a nice lounge with great cocktails, like come to Good Love. So we're doing a menu flip for that this week, which is going to be great. We're going to see some new things there, and so we're just eager about. We're learning who we are at Isla. We're definitely like trying things. We're experimenting to see what works for us, and we have a good team behind us. I'm super proud of the team in totality there. That everybody's grinding, and we're just trying to push the bounds of like what not only Caribbean cooking cuisine can be, but like also we're just great food, great cocktails, great hospitality, pushing programs, and so we're all things in. Come check us out if you're interested in trying our take on our spin on island cuisine. Please come check us out. Um, yeah, that's all things, man.
Awesome. Awesome. And also, don't forget to follow me on socials at Rich Rare and
Hmm.
at Eat Your Content. And make sure to like and follow on your podcast player of choice so you know when things are dropping. Quick programming note, The Bear Season 5 drops later in June. I'll be doing episodic recaps of that, so you might want to make sure and tune in. Guest host still pending, but I think it's going to be a good one, so stay tuned and make sure you like and follow so you know when it's going to be dropping. Chef Corwin, a joy and an honor to have you on for the last 14 weeks. It was great to get to know you and see you every week. It did go by quick.
It went by so fast. I remember like the first 2 weeks, I was like, man, this is going by slow. And then boom, we're like, oh man, we're at week 9. Okay, the finale's coming up. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. It was the highlight of my week every week. So it was a joy and an honor to have you on. It won't be the last time you'll be on the pod. I hope to have you back on again. Maybe we make this an annual thing and do this draft every year, schedule permitting, of course. But it was great having you on. I appreciate it so much for giving up your time and your knowledge and your insight to give the listeners a really cool view inside of Top Chef that a lot of people don't get to see. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and for those who've been tuned into the podcast, thank you guys. Rich definitely super appreciative. You call it your little podcast. I think you should stop doing that because at this point, everybody that's like in the last, like I want to say like 5 seasons of Top Chef has been on there. You've brought some OGs back. You interviewed Buddha. Like you got to big up yourself, Rich. It's not only for Top Chef. This is also for food, which is great. Keep doing the things, man. And whenever you're ready to bring me back, I'm here for you, man. Just shoot me a text. You got my number, and I'd be happy to come back and do this again with you, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If I'm in DC, I'm hooked. I'm gonna text you and let you know when I'm coming, and I expect to get a table at Isla.
I got you. And if I'm in Jacksonville, we're going to eat Filipino food.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yep. I'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to Eat Your Content. If you like what you hear, please consider supporting the podcast through my merch store on TeePublic. Get great quality items like t-shirts, hats, mugs, and more, all sporting the vibrant Eat Your Content logo. Go to teepublic.com/user/eatyourcontent for more great items, and thanks for your support.